On this episode of OnPoint, we're joined by Mike Downing, Chief Information Officer at WPA Health Insurance. Mike joins us to talk about how WPA develop their own small language models in-house, what this means in terms of being in control and developing feature-rich language models, a look ahead at what's coming up in AI adoption and bespoke AI trends, and much, much more. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, or if you'd like to be a guest on the next season of OnPoint, email us at onpoint@amarti.io. Now, on with the show. Mike, welcome to OnPoint.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Something that Amardeep and I have been really interested in recently is speaking to businesses that are actually building their own AI. So really interested in some of the key drivers behind WPA building their own AI.
Yeah, just filling a few things about WPA. So UK health insurers serving personal lines, corporate, large corporate. We very much pride ourselves on our customer service. So everything's about improving that customer experience wherever we can. We've got a relatively unique strategy in that we build the majority of our own software, which is sort of different to the market. To do this, we've got a large tech team internally and a small number of partners. So we build instead of buy for several reasons. We want to be in control of our own destiny. We want to manage costs, and we want to be able to build the features that matter. So that's our go-to is to build our own software. So if I look back in time, some of the things we built in the AI space, around 2017, we built a claims and treatment engine, mix of machine learning and traditional approaches. Around 2018, we automated our back office, bit of machine learning, bit of deep learning and traditional code. So very much using AI as it was then. Now with the advent of recent developments, in 2023, we started reworking the back office processing using agents with LangChain and LangGraph. This went live in early 2024, and we built our capability on it month on month. This means a great deal of that repetitive work is now undertaken by agents. So we've got teams of agents running on each area of the back office. Traditional sort of task-based approach. So because we built out our own AI solutions with the sort of current thing, we wanted to go to the next level. So one of the things we built was a call center co-pilot. Now, if you're on the call center, you're speaking to customers all the time. We want to make that experience really, really good. So we support those generic questions and those customer-based questions as much as we can. There's a lot to remember when you're on the phone, so having that co-pilot to assist you helps you with that journey. So all of these solutions I've mentioned so far, we built in our secure cloud environment. Across the business, people are using things like GPT as a learning and strategic tool. That's pretty much embedded now throughout the organization. Our developers make extensive use of AI tools, so we're well on that journey of using AI. Looking at the market and where it's heading, we believe that SLMs, so small language models, so more specialized, rather than large language models, the generic, it can do anything, are going to become more and more important as the agentic AI movement continues. So most of our agents so far have been task-based. I see the agentic approach as mission-based. So define a role, give it a job specification, definition of tasks, access to tools, and then a definition of the mission. Then these agentic solutions can be put to work. So one concern that we have, and this goes back to our build versus buy, is we don't want to be locked in with the tech giants, that their AI is perfect, it's general purpose. But we really don't want to be reliant when the costs start to rise, and that's not where we go to. So we need greater control over our destiny, our costs, security, privacy. Again, aligning with that build versus buy fundamental. I can go into the journey so far,
Yeah, that's
if
great.
that
Because I've
works.
just got a couple of questions, if
Hmm.
that's okay. Um, I heard you say that, well, your engineers are kind of, they've got the freedom to explore different AIs, explore different tools to obviously
Hmm.
make everything run more smoothly and be essentially quite innovative at WPA. A lot of organizations, especially when ChatGPT first came out, they were like, you can't use it, and everybody panicked. I'd like to just understand how your organization and your leadership team leaned into that,
Hmm.
because that's what's then set your innovative journey off and made the engineers and all the people in the organization feel, I suppose, secure in being innovative, right?
Yeah. So I think part of this is our history of AI solutions. You know that we've had AI um, in its older term
Yeah,
capability for a while, so people are comfortable with AI systems running. Uh, when GPT and others became available, yes, we wanted to control, so we've set policy in place. It's an enterprise license, so
yeah,
we don't want people just using things across the internet,
yeah, of course.
but very much controlled. We give access to tools within our secure cloud environment, so then we know things are not leaving. Um, let's
That's
say,
really that's really great, and I guess that's what's propelled the journey now, and for you guys to be, I guess, leading um, in a sense of where you can go with AI and how far you can take it if you're already thinking about the next steps, which I think is
yeah,
really, really brilliant.
it's 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 about embracing. I think the commercial tools. It's about embracing them as almost a co-worker.
Yeah.
So that
Well, it's a
initially,
tool, isn't it? It's an
yeah,
addition to your skill set rather than it becomes the skill set.
but they've also increased in capability so much. They've only been around what 2 years,
Yeah.
and it's gone from text to text, text to I don't know video and things like that, and then now it's a planning and strategic tool. You know, you can use it to help you do your work.
And
So
so you, oh,
sorry.
sorry, go on.
As I was gonna say, so as far as the rollout, we very much target the thinking areas of the business.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're on the call center, we will produce applications for that. But if you're doing this sort of a strategic role, these solutions, the GPTs and the like, are very good for helping you think, helping you come up with solutions.
And I think that's the key, isn't it? Help, rather than do it all. And I think what's really, I think you should go out and tell everybody how you do it, because it sounds like you've got a really, really robust AI strategy that I guess underpins and goes across the organization. It's not just that siloed in a data and AI team. It sounds like the organization has a very clear organizational strategy, which then other strategies can then go up into and roll up into that, which means that everybody's on the same path, which is really, really brilliant. Have you found that the vast majority of people in the organization and the culture of the organization has grown with the direction you're taking in AI and being the masters of your own kind of destiny? Or do you think that's had to be a culture shift as well?
So I've been at WPA for 26 years, and we constantly, again, because I think we build our own software, we're constantly striving for the next thing that will give the customers the better experience, the better journey. So I'd say there's constant change. We continually challenge ourselves to improve what we do, and I just see AI as another part on that journey.
Yeah, I
Um,
absolutely agree.
yeah,
I
so
agree.
so looking at those sort of work, the environment that we find ourselves in, other companies will be going on this journey. So it's very much something that you can't put off.
Agreed. And sorry, Ben, was you going to ask something? No, okay. And I suppose then your data that underpins all the AI and the innovation that you're trying to do is already in a state which it's governed and it's trustworthy and the business trusts the data and you're happy with the data. Is that a journey that you went on yourselves as well?
So we were quite lucky because we built those earlier machine learning systems, that data
Yeah.
was in a perfect state to start using.
Yeah.
We've had to build out other data, for example, for the Copilot. There are other areas of the system that need a data tidy before we can sort of implement AI solutions there. But one way I look at this, if you take the abstraction approach, so the underlying data can remain as is,
Yeah.
but you can always abstract it to a layer that is more workable for the tools.
Yeah. Agreed. And is that the focus? That's what you focus on then, not necessarily the raw data, but the layer. And do you differentiate those layers depending on the tool, or is it a layer that can be then pulled up into different tools?
Di- Differentiate depending on the solution that we're working on.
Oh, that's really brilliant. And Ben, sorry, I keep thinking you're going to ask, sorry. And then I just wanted to lean into the call center a little bit because I think that's really, really interesting. It seems like your WPA is really bleeding AI where it's beneficial across the whole organization. And I think the call centers and across any organization in the world that uses a call center, that's where they really want to drive operational efficiencies. And because that is customer facing essentially. What are some of the benefits you've seen from using Copilot along your call center staff, and have they been open to the journey, to go on that journey?
It's early days on that. We are just rolling it out. Business is very aligned. Um, I think the biggest benefit, besides efficiency, will be accuracy.
Yeah,
Because there's a lot to remember, there's a lot to learn, and if there's an assistant that's helping you with those
yeah,
questions and answers, that's perfect. Or some sort of functionality that we've built into the Copilot, um, generate data extracts, for example, to
yeah.
send to a customer, like their claims, their treatment, their invoices. Now that could take an hour today. With the
It really
Copilot,
could.
it takes seconds.
Yeah, that's just brilliant. It's just brilliant, and I think I guess it would give like I'm a customer of WPA, so I've got lived experience of
Snap.
interacting. Yeah, when I call up, when I need to use the services, and I've got to admit, there's never been a situation where I've been put on hold for even several minutes while they try and find some sort of information. I also have my son on the insurance, which means I have to. I mean, he can't call up because he's a baby, but if I've ever done anything with him, it is very quick. I suppose it gives the call center employees such confidence as well when speaking to customers that they're not going to be frustrated that, oh god, my system's taking ages, I'm just going to pop you on hold and I'm going to just
Yeah, exactly.
more than anything, the system's taking such a long time. It sounds like you're in such a healthy position and really driving it forward. Have you ever thought about sharing some of those practices and learnings with other organizations, especially in healthcare, where we need it in healthcare, right? So have you ever shared some of those with like wider, I guess, colleagues that you've in the
Yeah,
healthcare industry?
we're very open on sharing our stories, sharing where we've got to. Um, yeah, it's something that we do without a doubt.
I
And
think
sorry,
no,
I'm
no,
going
no.
to
I'll
keep
just say
going.
it. I
No,
think
no, go ahead.
no. I need to jump in because Ams
Yeah, no, sorry,
is
I'll just keep going.
hogging the show now. This happens, but I think the really interesting thing, Mike, is that you've been in the business for such a period of time, and this is it's a long-term strategy. So this is how, like, I think it's not a surprise to me that you've been building your own software and then you've led into this of building your AI. I know you said earlier on that you're talking about maybe a little bit of the other background stuff, but another key thing would be lessons learned, because over such a long period of time, there must have been some bumps in the road and maybe a little bit of a re-strategizing. How have you coped with that? How have you dealt with that?
There always is. So what we could automate 20 years ago compared with now is, it's a whole different story. I think it's about horizon scanning, understanding what's coming, um, being willing to change. We've got a culture that sort of embraces that, um, and and that's probably me worth talking about sort of our next steps on this, because again, we've got some solutions, but we're looking to the next sort of iteration now. So we purchased a number of multi-GPU machines. Again, we want to control our own destiny around the AI tooling. We've started using these to build our own small language models. We've built a generic model that can converse. Now we're making specialized versions of these SLMs. So one may be clinical, one may be specialized in our rules, one may be specialized in some of our data sets, which goes back to what we were talking about, the data extraction layers. So in time, I see these, so the agentic AI approach combined with SLMs, combined with the agentic orchestration layer, coming together to have agentic operations across the board, coming together as teams to solve problems. And again, we're building all of this out ourselves.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And I guess you're kind of forming an ecosystem of collaborating SLMs, right? And could you think of that as almost like federated intelligence?
Exactly, and as I say, we're building our own SLMs, but we're also using open source SLMs. I think there's a tech race going on between the open source capability and the tech giant capability, and there is a bit of leapfrog going on there. So the open source or our own SLMs being used with the agentic approach gives us sort of that specialized capability.
It really does. It really does. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was going to say, and we've taken this now further. We're very much targeting different job roles in order to become more efficient. So if a team of agents can review a number of cases, for example, and produce the top 10 cases that a human should look at, that to me is a massive win.
Yeah.
On the coding side, we've built out a solution, again, using this orchestration layer, using multiple open source SLMs that knows our entire code base. It can answer questions on that code base for business analysts or developers. And we run trials on it. So our backlog of requests, we allow this team of SLMs, of agents, to look at the backlog, come up with solutions of what it thinks it needs to be done. When the developers have then done those same changes, we compare, and the accuracy is very good. So I see in time this solution will be making changes on our code base.
That's brilliant. So would you think that, for example, in your organization, at least the SLMs will eventually become like as common and invisible as embedded chips, like they're everywhere but they're unnoticed?
It in time, and it's not going to happen overnight, but in time, they will become invisible. In that people won't think, oh, the AI is doing that. It will just happen automatically.
That's really great. And I suppose I suppose at some point, and maybe this is further down the line, or maybe it's something you might be exploring anyway, there's going to be like an economic inflection point where deploying lots of SLMs actually becomes cheaper than API calls to larger models.
Exactly. And if you think about that coding system that we've built, the price of some of the AI coding tools is increasing and increasing. Well, that runs at basically no cost to us for licenses and things like that.
Yeah, because obviously you've got your kind of masters of your own destiny as well. You've got the ownership. It's just so interesting watching, like for me as well, that didn't start her career in technology. So, I've only had like 10 years in it versus some people that, for example, yourself, that's had 20 plus years. But just seeing how fast things change, like first it was like, I remember the kind of API gateway, that was like the thing. And then it was large language models, LLMs, and it's so interesting. But this AI race, as you said, it's incredible. I watched, was it the Google's kind of when they do their little presentation of all the new things that they're doing and what they're bringing out, and have a friend that is really into AI, and he just sits and he codes most of the time, and he's built a model which is incredible. And when I was watching the Google release, I was almost like, oh, my friend's built that, but I
Yeah.
think much better. Like, he's shown me this.
Yeah.
He's shown me how it could work for me in my own life, just because he's so interested. And I do think it's going to be this incredible race. I went to Big Data London a couple of weeks, and everything. I can't, like, not necessarily the talks, but the stands was just agentic AI. And it actually became a little bit overwhelming, where I was like, oh, like, I'm going to stop speaking to them, because it's just the same thing being sold to me. But it's just so interesting that you've taken control. I love the fact that you've taken the control, and you can really steer the direction in which you want that to go in. I think that's brilliant. And I hope that more organizations have the confidence to do that, and the leadership to support them doing that. I think it's brilliant. Ben, I know you.
Yeah, no. What I'd say to that is, no, I echo what Ams is saying, but then I think that from Ams's friend's example of an engineer who wants to be in a kind of business that has that longer term strategy and has a, it's not an off the shelf product. Like, this is the kind of environment that people want to work in, Mike. So kudos to you. In terms of and it's an incredible story and really interesting. What advice, if there's another business in insurance or not that's now looking at having a bit of a change and looking to build more internal themselves, what advice would you give to somebody who's maybe thinking about that at the moment?
I think there's two splits here. You can go with the tech giants. You can buy, you can get embedded in that. I totally believe in the build angle. I've seen a lot of agentic AI frameworks come into market. They're everywhere now. There is a charge to them. There is, that you don't really know what's running under the hood, let's say. So I think organizations should focus on developing their own AI orchestration layer. I'm sort of biased on that. At the end of the day, a lot of these commercial tools are using the same underlying frameworks like LangChain, LangGraph that you can use yourself. So there's a choice to be done there. Having it built by your own team, you get that internal expertise being used on it. You can also, the other thing which I think is key, by using small language models that you built yourself or fine-tuned, or that together with the setting up of sort of that agentic approach, it's working for your domain. It's not general purpose.
Yeah. It's specific, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So I think no matter where you run it, this will have some sort of cost efficiency. There is a little bit of a movement in the market as well to being able to demonstrate what your solutions do. So whether bias, decision transparency, you need to understand what these things are actually running. So if you buy an off-the-shelf solution, you don't really know what's happening under the hood. And I think especially in the financial services area, the regulators are going to have more of a look at this. So
Agreed.
If I've got a agentic solution that's running on our own SLMs, on our own kit, and I can explain through the various toolage, that the explainability and the decisions that it's making, I think that stands up better than we're calling GPT through a framework that we bought, and this is what happens, we think.
Yeah, it is interesting because the industry needs to move along with the organizations, and you're right. I'm just thinking about financial industry, but anywhere that needs to report externally. I mean, it doesn't even have to be financial. Do those regulatory bodies understand? And even if it was explained to them, do they understand? Like,
Exactly.
So they're probably going on their own journeys to just educate as well themselves, and hopefully they are. So that when people explain how you're using different things in the organization, when it comes to AI, machine learning, etc., you're there. I'm hoping that eventually it's going to get to a point where the vast majority of organizations have at least moved away from the phrase, we don't trust our data, where a lot of organizations are still stuck, in all honesty. They might feel left behind as people are in the AI race, and they're suddenly just trying to put AI on top of it, on top of messy data and unclear data. So I think it's going to be really, really, I think the next sort of 3 years are going to be very, very interesting, because it's just such a race. And I don't know if you know anything about it, but I've started looking at quantum AI in quite some detail. I think there'll be some, are you smiling? So I'm glad you at least know you're on the same page as me. Definitely a massive geek, I am. But I am thinking about some of the organizations, NVIDIA, the people that are already laying down some foundations, because I feel like that's going to come very quickly and just hit us in the face. So it's great that to hear like an organization like WPA, especially in healthcare as well, which I'm quite passionate about, is doing something so exciting and forward thinking, because then it's going to be ready. Like you will be ready for the next step, whatever that step looks like.
Yeah, I always think of it as a journey. So there are areas of our system that are older. So we're very much we're looking to modernize them, rework them, just because we know how much it will matter in 3 years, 5 years time, with the changes around everywhere. But equally, with this sort of build approach, with this conscious thing on, we need to be in control of our own destiny. I think we need to be independent of any frontier model cost, because becoming reliant on them now as an organization, if the costs start to escalate, start to accelerate, you will see your license costs go through the roof in
100%.
time. Yeah.
100%. And quite often, different organizations, I won't be specific, they'll start with a sort of fixed pricing, a tiered fixed pricing license model, and then very quickly change to consumption based. And then suddenly that's where people are often like, oh my God, and now we've implemented all this infrastructure, we're completely reliant. We want to move faster. We do want to consume more. We want to have more customers. We want to run queries faster. And suddenly our consumption costs are so much more higher. The licensing, everything, the costs are just significantly higher. And now the cost efficiencies we were supposed to achieve in this transformation are no longer, or this evolution are no longer there. They're actually.
Whereas for us, we know we just need to buy another server, which those servers are not cheap, but
no, they're not.
We understand, if we want to do twice as much, buy another server, another server.
But with also.
I'm just interested. I'm going to
sorry, Ben.
Being the referee sometimes with AMS, but you touched on it a little bit there, Mike. But what is next? What is what does the next, I guess, year or two look like from a WPA perspective, with continuing obviously the journey that you're on?
Yeah, so keep on building out those SLMs or open source SLM capability, build out vertical AI. So this is agentic, job focused, doing more and more of the back office. We modernize the system, especially those areas where the data is a bit
messy,
challenging. So modernize that, and all of this will come together. So what we need to focus on is anything we build now. For example, the agentic orchestration layer needs to work in today's system and the system in 3 years, 5 years time. There's no use in rewriting everything every year because you've changed something. So it needs to be very open, and I particularly like the way you can offer up tools as part of this too. Once you define the tasks and the tools, those tools could be APIs, just to get the right data surfaced, and that's another angle is, even if you've got data that's challenging, an API is an abstraction layer on that surfaces up that data then in a much more usable format.
Yeah, just being open-minded. It sounds like you're just open-minded to whatever is the right thing to do at the time.
Yeah, you need to be flexible. There will be changes on the journey. There will be pivots without a doubt. The other thing I see coming is user interfaces are changing.
Yeah.
The traditional forms-based user interface. I think there are so many people now where using LLMs has become routine. So they will use it for decision making, self improvement, research, and anything. So that I forget the percentage of people who are using it daily now, but that
Yeah.
has become normal to type into a chat interface, no matter what the task is.
Yeah.
So I see a point in the future where people are using those sort of interfaces to do work, to activate
Yeah.
agents, to give agents commands. Um, and if you do need that form to I don't know, edit some data, I see that being generated on the fly
Yeah.
rather than a whole UX sat there never being used.
Yeah. I always find it interesting that when the little chat bots became very, very popular when you open a website or an app, and how
Mm.
frustrated we got as a as a human race. I don't want to speak to a bot, and people are speaking to a bot every single day sometimes about very, very personal things as well, which I think is great if it's helping. But some people are having whole conversations with bots about potentially their mental health and how to better themselves and
Yeah.
stuff. And it's such a human cultural shift from landing on a website and saying, oh God, I don't want to talk to this bot. And now we're really, that interface is changed. It's a really, really good point, actually, thinking
I,
about the front end.
I think because the experience is, so if you're talking with an LLM, that whole experience has changed from a rigid bot um, question and answer format to an actual conversation. And yeah, it most of them know a lot more than we do about things. So
Yeah.
it can help you with just reasoning, decisions, and whatever. That
Yeah.
I think you're quite right. There is a growing use case for emotional support and self
Yeah.
improvement and all that thing.
And I like it because it does make it accessible for a lot of people that might
Yes.
have had some barriers to entry into supporting their mental health. So
Yeah.
whether it's financial or fear or whatever that looks like, you've got a space where you can at least try and gather some information. It can go out and get all the data it
Yeah.
needs and provide you with some options, which is really
And
good.
and of course there we are talking about general purpose
Yeah. Yeah.
rather than specific sort of job
Agreed. Yeah.
role. And I think that's getting your head around that where specialized solutions can really help efficiency and customer experience and delivering what the customer needs, as
Agreed.
opposed to a general purpose tool that can help you in so many ways in your daily life.
Yeah.
But equally, the more and more people embrace these in their daily life, they'll expect them in the office.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. Or they'll use it in the office,
Yeah.
whether they're allowed to or not. Yeah. Yeah.
It's an exciting time without question and everything that's coming next. But Mike, I think the really kind of key thing that I've taken away is like I say, the long term strategy that you've had and how the continuous improvement and how you're looking to carry this on over the next couple of years. We obviously have quite a big platform. There's going to be people who are going to be listening to this who are going to be super interested in how you've done this, how you plan, even down to the kind of culture, because I think it's it's a completely different culture to different businesses. Are you okay if people? This obviously goes out on LinkedIn. Are you happy for people to reach out on LinkedIn and
Oh
connect and
yeah,
ask some questions? Really appreciate that
definitely.
because I'm sure there'll be some people who'll take a lot of value from this. Mike, thank you so much for coming on. You've been a fantastic guest.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
We look forward to seeing you at a data event very soon. And yeah, thank you again.
Thank you.